The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. Mets baseball, past, present, and future. That's New York Mets. We were going to change it to Mets Fans Anonymous, but things seem to be stabilizing in the last 2 weeks. And it's got Marty Rose and Robert Cole here to talk about it. Start with you, Marty Rose.
Yes.
What do you think? Do they have a potential of keeping it all together, pitching staff-wise, and building around it?
Well, I think that they should definitely try to keep the pitching that they have, at least the starting pitching. I understand there's a calling out there for relievers, and that there's a chance that the closer could be
familiar,
possibly in a trade. A couple of teams were mentioned as interested, like Houston, could be interested, and maybe Cleveland. But the bullpen's another story. Everybody's been talking about the starters, and they've been pitching well. All the starters have been pitching well lately, and they're not going to trade Syndergaard or DeGrom. They're not. And Wheeler could be. They could offer Wheeler around. I don't know what they'd get for him. I think they have another year.
Is there a chance anybody would pick up Cespedes in the American League as a DH, and with the Mets contributing part of the salary, that sort of thing?
After all the injuries, I really don't think so.
Even as a DH?
I don't know. It's a lot of money, and he's still got injuries. He may come back. Did you hear? He may be back for the Yankee series coming up after the All-Star break as a DH. So, possibility there.
Give him a showcase, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I really don't think they're gonna trade any of the starters, and I don't think they should. Personally.
Well, I agree. If you get 4 starters together on one team, of course some of it is potential because they all haven't been healthy together for all that long. But you look at what you got: Syndergaard, Thor. You got Matz.
Wheeler. Even Oswald's pitched well lately.
Right.
The last few times out, Oswald's looked good.
Yeah. They took him out early the other day. Was there a reason for that?
Yes, stupidity.
Oh. Robert Cole hits it right on the head.
Yeah, that was it, basically. There was really no reason for that, except I guess he was going to come up in the batting order. And, at this point, what's the difference? What's one win going to do? Let the guy pitch. Let's see him. I mean,
he goes 5 innings. His pitch count was in order. Okay, looking good. Gave up the 1 run. Okay, they're in a situation, bottom of the 5th, runner on 3rd, 1 out, and Rosario doesn't get the runner home, so they pinch hit for him. You 1-1 at that point. Okay, so maybe you don't get the run in. Let him pitch. Let him learn. Instead, you bring in the savior. He faces 2 guys, walks 2 guys, and boom, there goes the game.
Yeah, they always talk about pitch count and this, that, and the other thing, and the pitcher going out. They don't talk about the pitcher coming in.
Yep.
Are you going to bring, even though the guy's a little tired, are you going to bring somebody in who's fresh and just simply not as good a pitcher, or he wouldn't be a back at the front of the end relief pitcher? So
Callaway did some strange things this weekend in those 4 games. really had me scratching my head. A couple of times it worked, a couple of times it didn't. Friday night, he's got Matz pitching okay. The team keeps close. They keep coming back, one run behind. Bryce Harper comes up, okay, 2 runners on. He brings in Bam Bam Blevins, the lefty specialist, who can't get lefties out these days. And Harper hits a 3-run homer. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Saturday, he's got Thor pitching. Thor pitches, 5 good innings. He throws Lugo for 2 and Gazelman for 2. And, what happened to your closer? Where was Familia then? He doesn't come in. Saturday, then he had Wheeler pitching. Wheeler's pitching a great game. Okay. Pitches 7 innings. He's up by 3 runs. He's got 2 lefties coming up to face him to lead off the 8th. Okay, so if you're going to bring in your lefty specialist, that's when you bring him in. He's warmed up. He's ready to go. He lets Wheeler come out. First 2 lefties get base hits off him. He gets the righty out on what should have been a double play ball to Reyes. What Reyes is thinking, I don't know. Reyes looks home instead of going for the double play. Gets 1 out, run scores. So now it's 4-2. You have a runner on first. And you have Harper coming back up again. Callaway comes out to the mound. Okay, and I don't know if you noticed, Blevins actually started walking towards the bullpen gate like he was going to come in. Callaway leaves Wheeler in. Wheeler strikes out Harper. Then he comes out, takes him out of the game, brings in the Savior, and this time the Savior throws 1 pitch, gets the out. We go into the 9th, and now he brings in Familia, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we go to yesterday. Oswald's pitching a good game, and he pulls him out to bring in the Savior again. And, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, on disturbing news along that line, they're talking about what Marty said. He's not going to pay 2 salaries. They're not going to fire him, and they're going to even bring him back next year, well into the year, and give him a chance. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but, I question some of his thinking. I mean, the guy's supposed to be a pitching guru, and some of the maybe he's just searching and he's not sure. He's done a decent job with the starters. I can't fault him for that. He and Island have straightened Matz out, and they've straightened Wheeler out pretty well. If anything, DeGrom is pitching better than he ever has. And Thor, when he's not hurt, looks good. But the bullpen has just been abominable.
Yeah, what do you do with that? How much can you blame the manager when, you're throwing guys out there and then just not delivering?
Well, he's overused Lugo and Gazelman so much. He's so infatuated with throwing them 2 innings each all the time. And, towards the end there, I mean, they both looked like they were just out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand he's got such a bunch of bullshit in the bullpen that, you don't have many guys to go to, but, I guess Sandy gets a lot of that blame, unfortunately, but, he put this team together.
Yeah, but we all know that we were happy with the move Sandy was making, figuring that we're going to get a better medical team. We aren't going to be jinxed like we've been injury-wise. It's got, you figure that. And we liked re-signing Bruce. We liked getting Frazier.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you can only blame him so much. The only thing, looking back, they're slow and old. Even if all these guys were playing well, we'd be sitting around waiting for a 3-run home run. And maybe that's how baseball is today.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
And the 3 guys that they were counting on are all on a DL. Frazier, Cespedes, and Bruce.
Right. How long is Bruce going to be on the DL?
The last I heard, he had a setback, soreness in his hip. They shut him down, and it's going to be a restart. So I would say at least another 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. Wasted season along those lines. And Conforto has been a terrific disappointment. If you look at it, this is his third year. He really should be coming into his prime. Marty, speak to that.
Yeah, well, the only explanation to me is that he's coming off that surgery.
Yes. Yep.
The end of last year. And I think you have to give him one more year before you make a final decision. I think he, based on what he did last year with the 27 homers, I think you have to give him at least one more year to see what he can do. Because I remember how early he came back? They were saying May or mid-May. Came back in April.
Yeah,
so he may have come back too soon. It could have affected him. He could have been afraid to swing 100% like he had been doing. So I would definitely give him at least another year before we decide that he's not what he's supposed to be.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. I mean, he is a great disappointment this year, but, you have to give him at least one more year. And then also, don't forget, they were trying to make a center fielder out of him, and that could have, shooken his confidence a little bit.
Yeah, he's not a center fielder. I mean,
no.
You got to have a little bit of speed out there at least.
That's what I couldn't understand. They had Nemo and him both healthy, and you had Nemo in left and him in center.
Yeah, Nemo's a little bit better out there, than Conforto defensively. Of course, Dendecker's better than all of them, except he can't hit a lick.
Right.
We've seen that before.
Yeah, and Lagares is better than anybody.
Dendecker is a name. T.J. Kelly Dendecker. It's like they haven't come up with anybody in 2 years to fill these utility roles. That
same guys, the yo-yos,
same
up
guys,
and down, up and down. Yeah,
that becomes a little frustrating. There are teams, maybe they don't give a player enough of a chance. I could say the A's are a good example with this guy Max something on the Dodgers, who's just tearing it up. He was an A's guy for a while, and they gave up on him very quickly. So sometimes, as you say, Marty, maybe that extra year behooves them, especially with Bruce going down the toilet. Give Batista a lot of credit. He's had some decency, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Also give Rosario some credit. He's come on in the last
he's really raking the ball the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And his head's in the game. If we speak to the future, I was thinking about this. There are two people we have to speak to. One of them is the Alonso, who had a terrific home run in the Futures game.
Yeah, that was some shot. I saw that. Oh my God, he really creamed that. Yeah, 415 feet or something. Except he made an error too, so his D is a little bit shaky. But and his batting average since he went to Las Vegas has not been very good. Not like it was in Binghamton. But he's still young, and I don't know if they're going to bring him up in September or not. they may wait till next year. But I like to see this other kid come up, McNeil, and have them get rid of Reyes, because Reyes is just, I don't know why he's still here, frankly.
And he gets 2 hits each in the last 2 games. It's like he's toying with the idea, when are they going to get rid of me, making it a little difficult. That I wonder how much he counsels Rosario and how much of an effect he has on him.
Well,
that's
last year and the beginning of this year, that's fine, okay? But if Rosario can't do it on his own now, okay, after he's been in the big leagues for about a year, okay, I mean, cut the cord. He's got to show that he can do it.
Yeah, he should be good. There's plenty of Spanish speakers on that team,
Yeah,
not just
absolutely.
Reyes.
Yeah.
And Reyes is starting to make plays that he's not even thinking. I mean, his base running is bad. Some of his fielding decisions have been bad recently.
Like you said, that hesitation when he was going to go home just negated the double play, which would have taken him out of the inning. And then
you have to know the score. That run at that point doesn't really matter. You're still going to have a lead. Let the run score, get the 2 outs. And a guy of his number of years in the major leagues, it really makes you shake your head. I know I threw my remote across the room when that happened.
Yeah. Do you have like a little knuckle curve on the remote? That's
it's a power change. Okay,
hey, I want to talk about throwing. One of the things I love to do is keep a baseball glove on and throw a ball into the glove. Just walk around the house throwing a ball into the glove, and once in a while going out and having a catch with my friends. So, about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm having a catch, turn the wrong way, don't see the ball coming, end up breaking a finger, the ring finger on my glove hand. And because I'm so deathly afraid of doctors, of dealing with the medical community, of pain, of anything, I sat there. I sat in a camper van, cried for 3 days, never got it set properly, and since then have been unable to get my hand into a baseball glove.
Wow.
So this means now I could still toss the ball to play tennis and what have you, because the finger is you can't get it in, right? So I'm going by this used, it's a silver store, but he's got baseball memorabilia. And I look at this glove. This guy's got a glove for sale for $30. It's I would guess it's a 1950 model. It's a Wilson A2000 series, and it's a left-handed glove. It's beautiful. The leather is incredibly soft, and the irony is that it's a Billy Martin glove. He's signed it. Of course, it's a left-hander's glove, but I remember having a Stan Musial glove, which was a right-handed glove,
right,
and his name was on it. So, when I was a kid, I was a Billy Martin fan. I had Billy Martin gloves, and I told Billy Martin Jr. about my Wilson Billy Martin gloves as a kid, and he laughed. He says, we had hundreds of those things around, Wilson would send gloves and what have you. This is just the softest leather, and it's a left-handed glove. So now what I do is I walk around the house, and with my 3 good fingers, including the thumb, I throw the ball into the right-hander's glove. Well, that's fun and good. I can feel that feeling, you hit the ball and it hits the pocket and all that. Well, that's not enough for me. So in the past couple of weeks, I started going out to the park with the glove and maybe 5 or 6 hardballs, put them down, and just try to learn to throw lefty.
Wow.
Now, no trouble for Marty. He was a lefty. Right? Right? Big trouble. So I am learning, and Tally took a video, which I'm going to put up, the first day I threw lefty. I practiced the motion, and I've been doing it every day. I go out, and I throw them, pick them up, throw them back the other. It's like, I walk anyway. It's a good exercise. But my goal is to have a decent catch with Mert when he comes out to visit, and not look like nothing wrong with the Special Olympics, but I'll show you the video. But for the first day, I threw a few, and you'll be proud. So that's my story. That's my story.
Interesting.
Wait until you see the glove, though.
The A2000 series was a gorgeous.
A2000 was the top of the line.
Absolutely wonderful glove.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure for me to have it. It's like a pleasure to walk around, and it's small, but I have a small hand anyway, and it's pretty cool. So there you go, Mert. Now you have to come out to have a catch at Washington Park.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
All right. So let's speak for a second to the other future, the other player that comes to mind when I think of the Mets' future, and I'm going to give him a lot of credit. He's a guy who I wrote off for what I thought were the right reasons: his age, the decision to sign him because he was a dog and pony show, that kind of thing. Tim Tebow makes the All-Star team in Double-A. His numbers don't look that glamorous, but, All-Star, Double-A, could be a stepping stone to the majors, and I'll let you address this one, Robert Cole.
Okay, Tebow is he's going to get comments from everybody. Okay, already online, I'm seeing people ripping into him because he's dating a former Miss Universe, and they're saying that if he comes up to the Mets, it's going to be a dog and pony show. Well, it's going to be a show anyway. Wherever he goes, whatever he's done, he brings people around. He causes attention. I think at this point he's probably earned the right to show what he can do. And let's find out. Bring him up in September, give him some time in the outfield, and then either he shows that things are going the right way, or you forget about him. But
well, I want to know if you think enough of him to bring him up in September. They're hurting now. What do you think about bringing him up now?
I don't think so at this point. I think there's a couple of other guys that deserve to come up first, such as Alonso, such as McNeil. Give them a shot. Maybe towards the end, if come the trading deadline, you trade a couple of outfielders. I don't know whether they will or not. And you have a spot, maybe you do it then. But I would much rather see it in September. Give him a full shot. He's got a whole month, 30 games, and you see what happens.
The 40-man roster space too. You need
right,
for him.
Right.
True.
Plus, somebody pointed out. Somebody on Mets Talk pointed out that he contractually works for the SEC network.
Yes, he does.
September for football. and he, I don't know if he's got an out. You know, if he might have to work for the SEC network doing his football on Saturday afternoons.
I have a feeling that the SEC network, if he had a chance to play in the major leagues, I mean, you know, would step aside for that, and that
you would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it also makes it, you know, you could say, you know, former major leaguer Tim Tebow is one of our announcers on the SEC network.
So, true sport major leaguer.
Right.
Give him a lot of credit, really.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Standpoint. Yeah. To be an athlete that makes it in any one sport gets my adulation. But two sports, we've talked about how few and far between, you know, the Bo Jacksons, the Ainge, those guys.
Brian Jordan, Deion Sanders, Bo.
Yeah.
Gene Conley.
Gene Conley, yes.
Goes back a ways.
Even Dave the Butcher.
I'll go back a
Dave
ways.
the Butcher,
the
right.
Rifleman, for crying out loud.
Chuck
Connors.
Yeah.
I think he played in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, little trivia for you guys, okay? Who was the only player, okay, to be a All-American in basketball and an MVP in baseball?
Dick Groat.
Yes, sir. Very good.
Right.
Al Blumkin would be happy with that answer. Al Blumkin interviewed Dick Groat years ago, and he's a big Pirate fan, and naturally he would like my quickness on that one. But interesting that Walter O'Malley, when he left the Dodgers,
you just make my blood boil when you mention him.
Yeah, he builds up the Pirates to that 1960 championship.
Yes, he did, and he doesn't get enough credit for that.
I know, and he doesn't get enough credit for being a consultant with the 64 Cardinal team that won it all. He was in he made some big decisions on that, along with Bing Devine, who was a former Met general manager and a former Cardinal of St. Louis general manager.
Right. Bing Devine actually was the one that signed Gil Hodges to manage the Mets, and then left because he didn't want Gil Hodges to be the manager of the Mets.
Whoa.
He was
that I didn't know. You want to tell that story? Because that's a typical, it sounds like, well, I shouldn't be shocked at that because that's how the Mets are. That's how they roll. What was that about?
Well, you know, Gil, after playing for the Mets in 62 and starting 63 with them, was offered the Washington Senators job. Okay,
right. They got Bill Dennehy
experience at all, and he took it. And year by year, he improved that team. After Casey, of course, we remember Wes Western was the manager.
Right.
The team was going nowhere, and Mrs. Payson, you know, put out feelers if Gil would be willing to come to New York, which of course he was, and told Bing Devine, who was the GM, let's talk to Gil and bring him over. Bing Devine had other ideas, and he wanted to bring, I believe, if I remember correctly, he wanted to bring Johnny Keane, okay, who we all remember.
Right, with the Yankees.
But, you know, Mrs. Payson was absolutely in love with the idea of bringing Gil over. Said, no, let's get Gil. So Bing Devine engineered the trade with the Senators to bring Gil Hodges over. And shortly after that, Bing Devine left, and he went back to the Cardinals. And then I think it was Johnny Murphy or Bob Sheffing then became the GM.
Right. Johnny Murphy was rocking chair Murphy, they called him. He was a Yankee relief pitcher back in the day.
Yep.
And I think he was an original Met. I don't know if he was an original Met coach.
I think he was in the front office.
A front office guy originally, yes. And I think he did come down to coach them for a while along the way, did Murphy. But he was a protege of Weiss's. And I'll tell you, speaking of getting credit, Weiss doesn't get enough credit for building up that, and even Stengel, because he brought up Swoboda and worked with him and some of those guys, McGraw and what have you. But Whitey Herzog, they really built up that 69 Met team. You know, it's a bunch of guys responsible, but Weiss got very little credit for that.
And you have to remember, you know, those expansion teams started with virtually nothing. You know, it's not like today when there's an expansion team, you know, and you get some decent ball players. I mean, they had the absolute dregs to pick from, and he had to start a farm system from nothing. And
they changed the rules. See, in the American League, which preceded the National League in expansion by 1 year, the Angels did very well. And in between those two seasons, when it came time for the Houston and the Mets to draft, the rules would change considerably. Teams could protect more players. I don't remember the specifics, but it worked to a disadvantage of what Houston and the Mets could go.
Right.
And plus, the Mets were hit with an incredible amount of injuries, and you know, guys fell apart. Gene Woodling fell apart. Gil Hodges fell apart.
Yeah, they drafted all old guys. Well, Houston went the opposite way with kids, basically.
Right.
Yes. And interesting that it took Houston till last year to win a world championship. And so the Mets won it quickly in '69. I mean, that was a miracle.
That was definitely a miracle.
We were both at New York, Marty.
Hear the news on DeGrom today?
No, I didn't.
He would like an extension.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. Whoa.
So
I thought he was going to say, it'd be all right if you dealt me. Lost enough for a lifetime.
He likes it here. He wants to stay. He wants an extension. So, meaning, if the underlying meaning is, if you don't give me an extension,
I'm leaving.
Adios. Whenever he can do it. I still got a couple of years.
Well, there's two underlining meanings. If they don't give him an extension, they are the stupidest owners on the entire planet. And you got to think, are the fans, have they suffered enough? When does my idea for renaming the show Mets Fans Anonymous come into being? When are we going to have to call people together and go, "Hi, Marty. Hi, Ralph. Hi, Robert. Robert, we support everything you want to say. We know it's been a rough haul. They're just 50 years, though, of your hard summer after summer, Robert. Would you like to express yourself?"
Yes. You know, we're getting to that age now where maybe we need to go up to New York and kidnap the Wilpons. I mean, you know, we're old guys anyway.
He's kidding. If that ever happens, it's not premeditated. He thinks he has new thoughts every day. So nothing is premeditated. Anybody listening, it's like Groundhog's Day. We think about kidnapping them every day. So if it ever happens, not our fault. We just freaked out. We've been doing this so long.
Hey, on that line of thinking, what does Jeff do when Fred and Saul are gone? What does Jeff do? These guys are in their mid-80s now.
Oh, are they that? Well, they
Fred and Saul are like,
not mid-80s.
Like what, 84 or something like that?
I think probably closer to 82.
All right, but
still,
what does Jeff do?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, maybe he really doesn't want it, and maybe he'll
That's
sell
what
it.
I'm wondering.
That's
what I'm wondering. You know.
Yeah.
He wants to look out for his family and get a couple of billion more in the bank. I wonder about that.
Yeah, he can also say like Peter O'Malley did that. He was worried about estate taxes, so he wanted to sell the Dodgers.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, yeah.
Now the O'Malley family is back in baseball.
Are they really?
Yeah, the kids are basically running the Padres.
Peter's kids are running the Padres.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, that's pretty good. From all accounts, Peter O'Malley is a square shooter. Whatever you say about it.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Well, I'm gonna get you, Robert Cole, Dodger historian, on the Dodgers show with the new co-host, along with Ron Rabinovitz and Peter Trunk, is Fred Wallen, who is a former did the Dodgers pregame and postgame show, long-time LA announcer, baseball guy with baseball shows, and he knows Peter O'Malley really well. And Peter O'Malley, according to Fred, whose opinion I respect, is a pretty good guy, and like I say, a square shooter. So there you go. You can be a guest on their show and talk about the O'Malleys. And sometimes the acorn does fall far from the tree. In this case, it has to fall a long way from the tree to even say O'Malley to any New Yorker in this world.
True.
In any case, I think we beat it into the ground. I think let's do quickly a grade. The grade for the team is obviously a D- for the first half.
Yeah.
Starters, pitching staff, what would you grade them?
Starting pitching, I would give a B+ probably. Relief pitching,
Marty?
F.
Pitching? Yeah, I'd go along with that. I think B+, pretty good. Yeah, they've been better than expected. I think, to tell you the truth, considering Thor being out for as long as he was. But I think you're getting more than you expected from Wheeler and Matt. So yeah.
And you're getting more than you expected. DeGrom, as good as he's been absolutely lights out. Incredible.
Yep.
And the good news, if we take anything out of the good news of this show, is that DeGrom wants an extension.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy who could have held them up. So, good, unless he's feeling a twinge of some sort that we'll find out about before the ink is dry, no doubt. Relief pitching, a D, would you say, guys?
Yeah, the only thing that keeps it from an F is Lugo and Gazelman, basically. And Familia's been pretty good. But the rest of them, oh my God.
Levens has been horrible. The Savior has been despicable.
Yeah, Sewell got sent down and brought back. He's been bad.
Yeah.
Peterson, I thought was better. Hasn't shown much lately.
They stuck with Robles a long, long time.
Ramos is out for the year. It's just terrible. Awful.
Yeah. And if I'll say this, catching has been C+, which is higher. That's just my arbitrary.
I tell you the truth. I hope we've seen the last of Darno. I had enough of him. He's hurt every year.
Yeah.
Mesoraco looks like he's much better. And Darno, out of the three catchers, Darno's the worst thrower by far.
Oh yeah.
By far. Yeah.
The only problem with Mesoraco is you have to re-sign him, and I think that has to be made a priority.
Well, he can't be. I don't think he's going to be that much in demand. I think they should re-sign him, unless they really think Nito is the future. But I don't know about that.
Well, they put Nito back in Double-A.
Yeah. No.
So
from Triple-A.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why.
When Lobaton got released for the 17th time, they re-signed him for the 18th time, and they put Lobaton in AAA, and they moved Nito back to AA.
Well, maybe it's for playing time.
Yeah, probably.
Well, if he was in AAA, you sit Lobaton on the bench. He's certainly not the future.
No.
Yeah. They try to make lemonade out of that one, guys.
Difficult.
And let's rate the managing staff, coaching. Got to rate them C-, easy, maybe a D+.
I would give this coaching staff an incomplete. It's hard to judge them in the first half. They're, Callaway's new. They've had so many injuries. So, I would basically give them an incomplete, and let's see what happens, in the second half.
Good grade. I would, if I I started off with a C+. I'd go to a C because of the way he got the four starters together, and really he got Harvey in good enough shape to get something back for him. So even though he admitted that they failed in that respect, and I thought him coming forward with that was a good sign. And I'm resigned to the fact that he'll be the manager well into next season, as Marty predicted long ago. Certainly a matter of the decimal points on that one. They're not going to pay a manager to sit on the bench, or, no pun intended, not to manage. Let's put it that way. They won't pay two salaries.
No, and as rough as I've been on him, he deserves at least a full season of less injuries. So, yes, bring him back, and yes, let's see what happens next year. But I think Marty also mentioned last week or the week before, next year he's going to be on a very short leash.
Right.
I think so, yeah.
Hey, big kudos to Cabrera. I would say the same for Frazier if he could stay healthy, but he hasn't so far. But Cabrera has been terrific.
Yeah, and did you see Saturday? Okay, not only did Swarzak, yesterday, not only did Swarzak come in and walk the first two guys, he almost broke Cabrera's hand trying to pick off. Threw it wide, and Cabrera had to try to grab it with his bare hand.
Well, meet the Mets, greet the Mets.
Hey, one last thing, okay? In the beginning of the year, we gave our predictions for the team. Okay, what are predictions for the second half of the year?
I think they'll play 500 ball.
Really?
What do you think, Marty?
I don't think so. The hitting is just, it's just, if everybody comes back healthy, fine. I guess Bruce won't be, but, if they get Cespedes back, that should help the offense a little bit. But, how many games do they have left? About 70, 75 maybe?
No, I don't mean 500 ball overall. The question was, how much are they going to play in the second half? That's how I understand.
Yeah, I understand. No, they should be close to 500 if they get Cespedes back, I would think, and the pitching staff stays healthy. But the bullpen, oh God, the bullpen's killing them, and will continue to kill them the rest of the year.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah. And you can only use Gazelman and Lugo so much, and then especially
the big disappointment was a guy who could have been a terrific swing man, and that's Vargas.
Well,
yeah, he's going to find himself back, and he'll be in the bullpen, I think, at the start of the second half. I think Oswald's going to take his spot. I'm pretty sure, considering they have no other lefty in the bullpen besides Levin.
Well, Oswald's emergence is going to be a key because it's going to free up Vargas for the bullpen, and maybe he'll give him a second half that's decent. And with those four starters, they should be a 500 baseball team.
Oh, I agree. I just hope Vargas has the mentality to be able to go into relief. That's a concern also.
Well,
find out.
He's not going to have much of a choice.
Well, no. Yeah, he'll be put in that spot, but is he going to produce in that spot? That's the question.
Well, let's hope so. Long reliever, mop-up guy kind of position. They could do worse, I would think. But then again, I wouldn't have thought he would have had the first half that he had. So can't go by me, guys. Let's do it again next week, same time, same bat station. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
You too, Marty.
You too. Okay. Mert, Robert Cole, Marty Rose. The show is New York Mets baseball, past, present, future. And I'm Ralph Tycho with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll be back next week. Adios.
Good night.